Hey, good morning everyone. It's Tractorman 44 here. The missus, which is a very qualified teacher. Actually, she's a speech pathologist, has decided to go ahead and take our two granddaughters and go ahead and teach them for the duration of the school year. So we built this little classroom down in the basement, and it's specifically made for that purpose. We've had a very good fortune of having a mild winter this year so far, so we really haven't needed to burn any wood, with the wood heat being supplied from other places, and then just a small freestanding heater that's over here that's got some fake flames in it that the girls like to sit in front of. We've not really needed to use this old heater. This is a Dutch West model 2460. I think that stands for it's 24 inches in width and 60,000 BTU at full capacity. But it's a catalytic burning stove, and it's not really been in much use since my son moved out from down here, and he's 32 years old now. He's been gone for, my gosh, 12 years or better, 14 years maybe. Haven't had a fire in all that time. So this morning it's getting a little chilly the last couple of mornings, so I'm deciding to go ahead and service this and get it going. And I came down, and lo and behold, I found out that, unbeknownst to me, the actual damper that engages via this little stub right here has become disengaged with the damper, the bypass damper that's inside. Now, the way these catalytic burners work is you have to start your fire, you have to open your bypass damper to the bypass position, and your fire burns and it generates the heat, goes up the chimney and superheats the internal portion of the heat exchanger, and in doing so, that temperature will increase the catalytic burner to the point to where the catalytic burner becomes energized. Now, they want that to be a sustained 300 to 500 degree flue temperature before you close the damper back down, in order to close the bypass straight up the chimney and through that catalytic burner. Obviously, we cannot use it in that capacity with the damper broke, so that's what's necessitating taking this thing apart this morning. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull the flue pipe off and maybe the flue adapter off the back and see if I can have access. It may be something as simple as replacing a keeper that looks like it's missing here, and also re-engaging that square drive, the male square drive on the female square drive on the damper. But I don't know that it's going to be that accessible, except for originally installing it and actually assembling the basic assembly that it had to do. I've not done anything to it in all these years. It's already, I don't even know, it's got to be close to 26, 28 years old or so, I guess. I'd have to think on that. But it's fitted with a 62 CFM direct drive blower on the back side that circulates heat, around the heat exchanger and then blows it out the front of the stove. We're going to go about the business of taking this apart. Now, if you can see down the inside of my flue pipe, you can see that there's absolutely no creosote buildup on it whatsoever. Now, like I say, I've not had a fire in this thing for years and years and years, but that's a testament to the flue temperatures given off by your catalytic converter. Now, I'm hoping it'll be something as simple as reaching in here and realigning something. Now, what we're doing, we're looking right down inside the back of the flue pipe. This is where the flue pipe goes, and that funny looking thing there's the actual damper. So I'm going to open that damper and put it into bypass position. When it goes into bypass position, you can see right down into the heat exchanger. That's the closed position. You put it in this position here after the flue temperature gets that sustained 300 to 500 degrees, which will then take the bypass, which is normally going up would be going up the chimney. Takes that and closes the bypass, so that now it funnels all of the unburnt flue gases through the catalytic converter before it exits up the chimney. This is the factory installed temperature indicator. Unfortunately, you can't focus on it very well, but this is what you have to monitor during the burn to make sure that you're achieving the correct temperatures before you close the damper, and then you can actually see the temperatures going up the flue once the catalytic burner goes into operation. Sit.
Timeline.
Good girl.
There you go. Okay, index. All right. So let's go over here to some text features.
So I want to see if I can get a circlip on that in there. So I've taken the mounting bolts off of the other side on the top, and I've loosened these. This is a farmed refractory. It's a good thing I pulled this apart, because here's my damper. Here's a couple of washers that had actually slipped off the damper too, so those have to be reinstalled. And if you look back here, you can see how that's going to open up. What you were looking at before is right down through the flue pipe and into this area here as I rotated the handle. So I've got to go get a circlip that fits this right here. We'll reinstall this with the washers in the appropriate position, and then put this all back together, checking to make sure the simulated asbestos gasket is in good shape. And we'll go ahead and clean this out and put it back in service.
Okay, you can hold up your iPads for a minute and just look on these.
There's a bypass position. Pull the damper handle out. Let it get up to temperature. Gets up temperature, close the bypass damper, goes through the catalytic converter, then out the chimney. So everything is a success. I have to reassemble everything and we're good to go. So now comes time for a little bit of help, because this is refractory and you can damage it very easily. And we have to reinstall the top with this thermometer stub directly in that hole. So I've got the missus there with the flashlight, and she's going to direct me right into the spot. Okay.
Toward me, toward me. No, you're way too toward me. Okay, easy down. Back towards you a little bit. Okay. This, no, up. Look again. Where is it? Okay. All right. Yes. That should be right there.
Got the first one correct.
Right there. Yeah. Okay.
Let's give a round of applause for my helper.
Wish I could park a car that well. Did you check yours?
We're still trying.
Well, she should be working and you should be doing something else.
So a quick little overview on this. Obviously you can see you can actually stoke the fire from here if you'd like to. I prefer stoking the fire from the end myself, but you do have that option. But you definitely do not want to run it with that door open for any length of time at all. Under here's an ash tray, ash clean out. You pull out service, clean all that out that misses the tray. You can see how rapidly it goes up the chimney whenever you give it unlimited combustion air. But you go ahead and close that back down. And then the combustion air that actually goes to the fire is this damper right here. That's fully closed, there's fully open. I usually just barely leave this cracked in order to get a good heat bed established. Then I'll go ahead and close this and control it entirely by that.
Okay, and this was 25.
And again, we're establishing the fire with the bypass damper in the open position, so that we're bypassing the
Yes.
catalytic converter, and it's actually going straight up and right up the chimney in order to superheat or attain secondary burn to get the temperature up high enough to where we can then engage the catalytic converter. Once we get that temperature, then we'll close this and pass all the flue gases through that catalytic converter.
100?
200.
And on the back, we've got installed the optional 62 cubic foot of air per minute blower, squirrel cage blower, that I just plug into the wall to operate it. There is a location on the other side where you can install a thermo disc and cycle this based on temperature. instead of just plugging it in and then unplugging it. This will be an adjustment here that will allow you to control the temperature going up the chimney. Increasing the combustion air or increasing the secondary combustion air will obviously increase the flue temperature dramatically. Throttling back down will cool it down dramatically, but you don't want it to get too cold because you need to have that secondary combustion in order to burn all the normally unburned flue gases that would go up your chimney and give you the potential for creosote production. There's always things that makes you take a sidestep to the way your day gets started, you know. That was something that was definitely required. The old thing is actually in really good shape, because like I say, it has not been used in a pretty good number of years. But it doesn't matter, you know, I had to get that damper repaired because it would definitely destroy that catalytic converter had I not went ahead and made the bypass portion of the system function. If you do not allow it to get up to temperature and energize the catalytic converter before you start passing the flue gases through that converter, all the unburned flue gases will accumulate on the surface of that converter and just literally burn that thing up and render it useless. Then you've got a $170 converter you've got to replace prematurely. So you're much better off going ahead and letting it burn, get up to that 300 to 500 degree temperature before you close that damper, and then allow the flue gases to go through the now energized catalytic converter. It'll make everything last longer, and you can see that inside of my flue pipe there wasn't anything. Well, there was rust in there now because it's been so many years, but there is seldom ever anything but a gray powder inside my flue or inside my chimney, and that's because we do as a pretty good job of attaining complete combustion. So at any rate, we got this one put to rest. I'm gonna go back to business doing something else, and I'm back outside already. So this is TrackMan 44, and I'm out of here.